You are listening to Greg and his friends talk sports. 10 to 20 minutes every day, Greg and his friends are talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. Every day on the Central Indiana Sports Report.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Central Indiana sports fans. Whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report, we welcome you. I'm your host, Greg Mengel, and this is my new podcast, Greg and his friends talk sports, every day sometime between midnight and 6 p.m. for about 10 to 30 minutes. My friends and I are talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. Usually the podcast drops in the morning on weekends and early to mid-afternoon on weekdays, but it won't always be the same. Coming up, the NBA trade deadline is just a couple hours away, and there are Pacers rumors. The Noblesville Boom won their sixth game in a row, beating the league's best team on Wednesday, and I'll talk with my friend and Boom PA guy, Aaron Pitman, about the Boom. Plus a handful of girls basketball sectional results and a look ahead to Thursday. And with girls basketball sectionals being Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, Thursday is a big night for the boys, and we'll have the local schedule for you. Before we get to that, I want to let you know that on Wednesday we released our Purdue report, and we'll have an IndyCar report coming up late Thursday evening. Will Rutherford Super Bowl preview and Hanson Crafton's fight report will be coming up on Friday. Also on Friday, we think we're going to have a Colts report, but it's a maybe at this point. Thank you so much for joining us. My friends and I will be back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, and so on. We start our recap of what's happened in the last 24 hours in the NBA with the trade deadline, which is just a couple hours away. The last 24 hours or so, it's been quiet around the Pacers, but of course, I'm not sure that we've ever seen a trade coming when the Pacers are involved when Kevin Pritchard is their general manager. There is a rumor from Jake Fisher of the Bleacher Report that the Pacers are the front runner for Clippers big man Ivica Zubac. Alex Golden is reporting that there may be interest in Jakob Poeltl. Things could go down at any moment. If the Pacers make a move, we will have a reaction podcast. After a quick start to the trade deadline season, it's been very quiet the last 24 hours. The biggest one is Ayo DeSomo has gone from the Bulls to the Timberwolves in exchange for Robert Dillingham. 4 players from Indiana have new homes. Jaren Jackson Jr. is now in Utah. Mike Conley Jr. in Charlotte. Jaden Ivey is now at the Bulls. And Darius Garland, who's originally from Gary, is now with the Clippers after being traded for former MVP James Harden. Even with all of the Boom players up with the big program, just the night before, Noblesville won its 6th straight game on Wednesday, 129-117 over G League leading Osceola in Florida. Ethan Thompson and Gabe McLaughlin combined for 56 points off of the bench, and the Boom are now just 2 games behind first place despite a 4-6 start to the season. Noblesville and Osceola will do it again on Friday. Tip is scheduled for 7 o'clock. Then 2 games in Long Island before the Boom finally return home a week from Saturday to face College Park before the All-Star break. The game against College Park is the first of 4 straight at the arena at Innovation Mile. And here's my friend Aaron Pittman to discuss all of it. Aaron, after Wednesday night, it would be hard to argue that the Boom are not the best team in the G League right now.
Yeah, absolutely. 7 wins in a row for the Noblesville Boom. Started off a little slow as we talked from our last time with just the number of injuries that the Pacers had. We had guys playing up into the NBA. As a matter of fact, we even had some of the G League guys in the starting lineup on a regular basis.
That's right.
And now those guys, the two-way players, they're playing regular minutes for the Boom. And they're off and running. They have had a very favorable schedule at home. But last night, they went and proved themselves in Osceola, Florida, by beating the top team in the Eastern Conference by double digits. And now nobody wants to play Noblesville. And that's a great thing for the city of Indianapolis and the state of Indiana.
I don't know if I've ever seen a game where 2 players scored at least 25 points off the bench before. Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and one thing that Coach Hankins has been doing, he's been toying with the lineup some throughout the year, giving these two-way guys that are playing a lot of minutes between the Pacers and the Boom some time to rest and bringing them up off the bench. So maybe they're not playing as many minutes, but they're still contributing in a big way. Ethan Thompson, Talon Peter, they're coming off the bench, and they're top players. I mean, Ethan Thompson is in the G League Next Up All-Star game for a reason. He's one of the elite players in the G League, and he nearly had a triple-double last night off the bench. He had 31, 10, and 8 coming off the bench. So, again, these guys are cruising, and they're playing very strong basketball right now. If you're a team in the G League in the Eastern Conference and you've got the Boom coming up on your schedule, I would definitely be losing sleep over prepping for these guys.
I mean, the plan was for Quentin Jackson to be the best player on this team, and he hasn't even been playing because he's playing with the Pacers.
Right, absolutely. And really good for Quentin Jackson. I honestly, in my opinion, I think he's earned a permanent contract with the Pacers.
No doubt.
Yeah, but, at the same point in time, we'll see what happens when the Pacers are fully healthy going into next year, whether or not he can fit into that 14-man rotation that they typically carry on a regular game in regular game scenarios. But I really do believe that Quentin Jackson is a future contributor on a regular basis with the Pacers and not in the G League.
A chance to get within one game of first place in the East after starting 4-6 on the year. That's pretty insane. And then finally return home next Saturday after a long trip away. The fans are going to be excited to see this team at home, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, and as I mentioned to you the last time we spoke, the home schedule the remainder of the way is extremely favorable. They're playing teams that are down at the bottom of the standings, such as the College Park Skyhawks and the Capital City Go-Go. These are teams that are not very strong because their NBA teams aren't very strong, and it's translating into just not having a very deep roster. So certainly winnable games for the Boom coming up. There are some big-time games coming up as well. Again, another game with Osceola on Friday night in Kissimmee. There in Florida. So certainly an opportunity for the Boom to get a little bit closer. Going into these road games, sometimes it's hard to go for a sweep. You often look for a split with those teams, but certainly an opportunity for the Boom to just inch even closer toward the top spot in the league. But certainly I think the big thing right now for the Boom would be not only get in the playoffs, but potentially look at hosting a first round or even a second round playoff game.
I mean, the expectation right now has to be championship in their first year in Noblesville, right?
I know it sounds crazy that you say, it's championship aspirations. However, this team was in the playoffs last year, won a first round game, and then fell to Osceola in the next round. But this team is deeper. They're faster. They're hitting shots and playing strong defense. This is certainly a team that has an opportunity to go on a deep run in the playoffs. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they're playing in that final best-of-3 series to win the G League title.
Aaron Pitman, we look forward to hearing from you as it all unfolds this year. Thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Take care, Greg.
Thanks so much to Aaron. Pretty exciting for Noblesville and Hamilton County to have a professional basketball team. Just a few girls basketball games on Wednesday night in Central Indiana. Class 3A at Western, it was Peru 46-16 over Northwestern. The Tigers now 13-11. They will face Maconaquah on Friday in the second semifinal after the Braves beat West Lafayette 54-24. Junior Ireland Kyle had 16 points for the Braves, according to Brian Caskins of the Kokomo Tribune. The other semifinal, the first semifinal on Friday, is 12-12 Western against 2-20 Logansport. 3A at Lebanon, it was Danville 53-40 over Tri-West. It was Danville's 7th win of the season and their 2nd over the Bruins. And Lebanon beat Frankfurt 58-12. The Tigers led 18-1 after the first quarter, according to Will Willems of the Lebanon Reporter. So on Friday, 10-12 Lebanon will take on 7-17 Danville in the second semifinal. its favorite Brebeuf against 4-19 Crawfordsville to open play Friday night. 3A at Rushville, number 1 Roncalli defeated Beech Grove 70-35. Junior Elliot Leffler had 19 points and 4 steals, and Lydia Staley 10 points and 10 rebounds for the Royals. New Pal beat Greenwood 59-17. The Dragons started the game on a 19-1 run. Gabby Browns had 12 points, and Sadie Hughbanks and Brooklyn Krim 10 points apiece for New Pal. In Friday's semifinal will be 22-3 Roncalli against the 15-8 Dragons. That'll be after 12-9 Shelbyville takes on 11-13 Indian Creek, the two winners from Tuesday night at Rushville. Class 2A at Heritage Christian, it was Eastern Hancock 71-15 over Crystal House, and number 11 Triton Central defeated Irvington Prep 74-5. That does not sound like it would have been fun to attend. So on Friday night, it'll be 16-8 and 8th ranked Heritage Christian against 6-13 Cecina, followed by Wednesday's winners 15-8 Eastern Hancock and 19-7 Triton Central. And in Class A at Southern Wells, it was Southwood 57-9 over West Dell. The Knights now 13-8, and Southern Wells 47-20 over Cowan. The Raiders improved to 15-7. Remy Holmes had 10. Gailey Davis scored 9, and Cadence Watkins 8 for the Knights, according to Sam Frick of ANEC Sports. John Harrell tweeted on Wednesday that the average margin in this postseason through 2 days is 24.1 points, 4 points more than it's ever been in a single postseason. 8 teams on Tuesday night scored in single digits. That's an all-time record. And one high school boys basketball game on Wednesday was Hamilton Heights outscoring Kip Legacy 16-7 in the fourth quarter to pull away for a 59-49 win. The Huskies are now 9-7 and have won 9 games in a row after an 0-7 start. Some men's college basketball on Wednesday. Number 5 Indiana Wesleyan ran past Huntington 93-71 for its 6th straight win. Cademan Bontrager led the 20-3 Wildcats with 20 points and 6 rebounds. Number 24 Taylor dropped a heartbreaker at Goshen 79-78 in overtime. The Trojans led late in regulation and in overtime and had 3 shots to win the game in the final seconds of both. Number 1 Grace rebounded from its first loss of the season for a 79-73 win over Spring Arbor. Tyler Rash, a freshman from Northwood, led IWU with 20 points. Anderson remains at the top of the HCAC standings after an 87-75 win over Manchester. It's now a 3-way tie atop the conference with the Ravens, Rose-Hulman, and Mount St. Joseph. With Transylvania a half game back, Franklin a game back, and Hanover just 2. What a race. Fisher's Bryce Williams paced Anderson with 22 points and 5 rebounds. Notre Dame lost its 3rd straight, 76-65 at Louisville. Butler is 13-10 after a 97-87 double overtime loss at Providence, despite 30 points from Finley Bizjack. And Purdue Fort Wayne was blown out by Youngstown State, 90-61 at the Coliseum in Fort Wayne. And in the Big Ten, Minnesota upset number 10 Michigan, a big loss in the race for the Spartans. In women's basketball on Wednesday, Shea Shesky, 31 points, and IU went into Madison and left with a 77-74 win over Wisconsin. Shesky went 12 for 19 from the field, 3 for 5 from behind the three-point line, with 9 rebounds and 5 steals for the 13-11 Hoosiers. Purdue fell 85-82 in overtime at home to Penn State. The Nittany Lions' first Big Ten win of the year. The Boilermakers are now 11-12. Ball State is now 18-5 overall and 10-1 in the MAC after an 83-48 win over visiting Northern Illinois. Grace Kingery was 8 for 12 from the field and led the Cardinals with 23 points. And Butler lost 67-57 at home to Villanova. The Wildcats are now 11-3 in the Big East. Paige Williamson scored 20 and Anderson 71-57 win over Manchester. The Ravens are now 13-8 overall, 9-5 in third place in the Heartland. And in the NAIA Crossroads League, Huntington beat Indiana Wesleyan and a couple of overtimes. The Wildcats fall to 13-10, and Taylor falls to 16-7 with a 74-64 loss at Goshen. A couple of national headlines, no major news coming from Santa Clara and Super Bowl 60. Pretty boring pre-Super Bowl, to be honest with you. Should be an interesting game, though. Sunday, 6:30, NBC from the new Candlestick. Will Rutherford will preview the Super Bowl and make his prediction on this week's Strictly Biased podcast. And he also talks some baseball, basketball, and IndyCar as well. The NCAA has denied Trinidad Chambliss' appeal for a 6th season at Mississippi. He'll remain in the NFL draft and is expected to be a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick, rated the 3rd best quarterback overall by Mel Kiper Jr. And the Winter Olympics opening ceremony is Friday in Italy, but it is already underway. The USA won 7-4 over Switzerland in mixed doubles curling. On Thursday, big night in boys basketball. We start in the CIC where 8-7 Alexandria goes to 10-5 LaPel. 2A number 14 Frankton 12-4 hosts 11-4 Tri in what should be a really good one. I'll have coverage of that one later Thursday night. 5-12 Tri Centrals at 7-8 Elwood. I'll also have a reaction podcast to that one. Class 2A number 1 and unbeaten Oak Hill goes to 6-9 Western. 12-4 Bluffton's at 7-7 Eastbrook. Also around Central Indiana, 8-6 Culver Academy goes to 12-5 Kokomo. 6-13 Richmond's at 8-5 Anderson, and 4-9 Marion's at 8-6 Muncie Central for 3 North Central Conference games. In the Hoosier Heritage, 7-9 Greenfield Central's at 9-6 Delta. 12-3 Pendleton Heights is at 7-7 Yorktown, and 4A number 3 Mount Vernon hosts Noblesville. 8-9 Hamilton Southeastern goes to 7-9 Franklin Central. 9-6 Westfield is at unbeaten and number 1 Fishers. 2-12 Clinton Central visits 5-10 Carroll. 15-3 Pike hosts 11-4 Ben Davis. 15-2 Lawrence North goes to 11-3 Carmel. And Class 2A number 2 Plainfield goes to number 12 Terre Haute North. Girls swimming sectionals get underway at Hamilton Southeastern, Carmel, Jay County, New Palestine, Lafayette, Jeff, Crawfordsville, Plainfield, Decatur Central, Lawrence North, and Franklin in Central Indiana on Thursday. The team champions and individual race champions will be determined on Saturday afternoon. Carmel is swimming for its record 40th consecutive state championship. And 3 games in local women's college basketball, all at 7 o'clock. It's Evansville at Valparaiso in the Missouri Valley, Purdue Fort Wayne at Wright State in the Horizon, and Notre Dame hosts Virginia Tech in the ACC. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana Sport.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.